This episode of A Funny Thing Called Business is brought to you by Joanna Drinkwater, who is a multi-award-winning chartered accountant, business and finance professional, and managing director of Grant McKnight. Grant McKnight is a firm of qualified accountants, tax consultants, and business advisors with international Big Four finance backgrounds. For further information or to arrange a free non-committal consultation, please get in touch with Grant McKnight. You can find them at grantmcknight.com. Welcome to A Funny Thing Called Business. We are four business owners with over 30 years collective experience under our belts. We now share the capers and triumphs of running a small business and how we now avoid perilous customer chaos and pitfalls. And today we are talking about creating catchy campaigns. I'm Clare Whalley. We also have
Darren Langley,
Kate Curry,
Pete Morgan.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's get cracking, guys. Let's talk about creating catchy campaigns. So let's start by sharing some of the funny stories or memories or experience you've got over your years in business in relation to how you've come about creating some catchy campaigns, or maybe not so catchy. Pete, kick us off.
I did a thing a couple of years ago called Podcast in a Box. And the idea was not a new idea. You know, we've seen them all, XXX in a box. But it was the equipment that you need to get started and my expertise and guidance. And I'll edit and produce your first 3 episodes, I think it was. And
so it was like
a big package. And I actually did a campaign on Instagram, which was my first campaign. And it went quite well. Mm. You know, a couple of sales off it, which is good. Quite a lot of new connections and some good questions that came off it. However, somebody got in touch and completely misunderstood it and thought that it was a podcast hosts, a co-host.
Oh,
they thought it was honestly, and they thought they would just provide like a script. And these great people would deliver this amazing content.
How much were they paying?
Exactly, that was the thing. And it was like, no, that's not. And then they got really kind of uptight and a little bit irascible about the fact that they weren't getting hosts and voices, that they were going to have to voice it themselves. And I'm like,
you didn't record it, Pete in a box.
Exactly.
It's Pete in a box.
And that really is just like the Christmas wish list for my wife. Just Pete in a box. Just in the corner of the room, just put him in a box, give it a couple of air holes so he can still breathe. Just keep him there. So Podcast in a Box was mine. That in almost every way it went well, but you can never properly calculate for the idiots that are out there.
Well, funny about the idiots, because for this I looked up what was the search I used. I think it was just bad marketing campaigns, and oh my god, a host of stories came up. So many of these howlers that these massive companies have put out there. For example, Adidas, for the people who'd completed the Boston Marathon, in the subject field, congrats, you survived the Boston Marathon. McDonald's, with a young boy chatting to his mum about the death of his father. I mean, I don't know why McDonald's would even go there for a start, but
he's haunting you. I mean, what?
No,
here's a happy meal.
The punchline was that they both enjoyed fillet of fishes.
What?
So there was just story after story of all these howlers.
The Hoover one, I think, is the one that always stands out to me. The big campaign they did.
What's that?
So that was giving away, if you spent £100 on a Hoover product, they gave you 2 international flights free. And what they absolutely did it as a loss leader. Because
they knew that then.
They must have done, because basically they were making something like £30 on each appliance that they sold, but the flights were costing £600, so they were losing £570. And what happened was hundreds of thousands of people
obviously
went and bought kind of the basic Hoover vacuum cleaner,
Yeah.
which was over £100,
Yeah.
and got these flights, and then resold them. So knackered Hoover for second-hand sales for years to come, because people had. And so what Hoover decided to do was to make it as hard as possible to claim your flights, because they realised it was millions they were in the hole for with this. It was and they decided to just make it as hard as possible. And eventually, heads rolled.
Yeah.
It led to kind of them being bought out. That was a bad campaign. That was
That's just
not.
bad maths,
I
isn't
know.
it?
It is.
But some of these stories are just so obvious that you're like, how? There must have been lots of people in a room several times. How did it get through all these stages?
The weird thing is, at no point did anyone say that campaign idea sucks.
Yeah. Nice. Well done. Well done. That was absolutely superb.
It was. No, that's me done. I'll see you later.
That was amazing. But it is. It always gets me when people don't go, okay, maybe we should just limit it to 100, like golden tickets.
First 100, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, something like that. But someone to go, yeah, we need to sell more. And I understand, with certain businesses, you do loss leaders, to a certain degree. If you're making 30 quid on an appliance, maybe have a loss leader that maybe you're going to lose, I don't know, maybe £100 on each appliance.
Yeah.
Even that. But 570 quid on each appliance they were losing was just ridiculous. Yeah, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Kate.
Oh, I love a creative campaign, and I'm sort of like my examples that I was going to sort of talk about. So this is what I think are like. Well, the first one is successful, but perhaps for the wrong reasons. If you remember the Tango ad campaign, do you remember that?
Yes.
I loved that.
Everyone loved
tangoed?
it. I was at school at the time. You had to be really careful not to get slapped around the face like in the playground, because everyone was just doing that.
Yeah. They did have to stop it in the end.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
they did,
yeah.
Slappers.
Headmaster had to stand up and say, no more tangoing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, another name drop, drop the branding into the assemblies as well. Tango sales were like whoop right up. But there it was. So I think that was like the first one I remember. But I think one of the cleverest ones I've seen was when KFC ran out of chicken. Did you see what the ad campaign was for that? And it was just really simple, an empty bucket of chicken, but they swapped the letters round of KFC to be FCK.
Brilliant.
We're
So
we're
clever.
so sorry. Yeah, it was really, really clever, because you can use campaigns not just to sell your product, but to really turn some like quite awful PR round and turn it into something really, really positive.
Yeah.
So I still would never go to KFC, but even so, I thought the campaign was brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I use that to inspire my own ideas, really, things like that. It's like, how can you be really, really super creative to really capture people's attention, and so they go, that's really good, and it stays with you, doesn't it? A
It
good
does.
campaign stays with you.
For years. I mean,
Yeah.
that tango was from when we were, 10,
Yeah.
12?
Yeah.
So it definitely does. So, Kate, have you delivered a successful campaign, being a fabulously creative person?
Oh, I've done quite a few. Yeah, so the ones that I thought this was probably one of my best ones was to send mailers out, because I think posting stuff out to people is one of the
direct
best
mail,
ways
yeah.
of getting their undivided attention. And because everything's so digital these days, it's just nice to break out of the mould a little bit. So I sent a direct mail piece out to people in the construction industry, and I sent them bits of Lego that you could build into my logo and design.
Genius.
Oh yeah, that was clever.
Designed a little, postcard to go with it in the style of Lego. With this is how you build a brand. You start with the foundations, and then you build your values up, and then your visual identities, the roof that goes on the top, and so it's all very clever. So that was good, and somebody apparently has still got that on their desk now, which was nice.
That was so good. I remember at the time when you told everyone, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I loved it.
But the most response I had was when I sent out just some chocolate brownies. So I got some chocolate brownies. So you go to all this trouble to be super creative.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just want to eat.
Just give us the chocolates.
Let's get back to basics. But when I sent the brownies out, every single person, without exception, that I sent these brownies out to responded, and I got an email or a phone call back from them within the next day or two after they'd finished eating them.
I'm writing that one down.
Yeah.
Brownies. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What about you, Darren?
What about me? I opened a wrapper of a chocolate bar the other day.
Did you?
And inside it said, "You're a loser." I wouldn't have minded, but there wasn't a campaign on the time. Worse than that, it was a boost. Sorry, I'm obsessed with the comedy of Gary Delaney at the moment, so yeah.
I wanted to check him out. Brilliant.
Yeah, no, he's brilliant. Anyway, for me, I've tried lots of different advertising, marketing, and whatever else, reaching out, and more have failed than have succeeded. But I thought I'd have a go at telesales as one of the the telesales campaign. Get people to phone up people on my. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't doing the calling, no, because that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Getting someone to do the calling for you. And I think the inspiration was that I realised that when I get called up, and I probably shouldn't really make this public, but when I get called up, I'm a sucker. So they'll reel me in, no problem, and So I thought, well, if it works on me, it works on other people. But I'm obviously the only sucker in on my data sheet.
What have you bought via telesales?
Oh, the.
Have you ever bought a kitchen?
I did no, because they hung up on me actually. So yeah, I would have done.
It wouldn't have been from me.
No, I don't buy everything from telesales, obviously, but I have, been kind of like convinced, we'll try a demo of this software to do something or another, and okay, yeah, right, yeah, and then okay, I'll give it a go, and then the clue is I've worked it out now though. I'm onto them now. If they have their payment model is monthly, then that's good.
Okay.
Pay monthly. If they want you to pay annually, an annual subscription for their software or whatever, that means it's going to be rubbish, and you're tied in for the year and you've paid.
Yeah.
And after year one, you'll cancel it. Yeah. So that's it now. If they don't have a monthly option, they're not suckering me again.
You're out.
Woo-hoo. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, wait 1 second. What was that noise?
I don't know.
Was that what that was?
So reflecting on the campaigns that you've done, what do you wish you'd have done differently with them, if anything?
Not spent so much money, maybe. I think campaigns like anything, kind of fall for like the silver bullet idea of, if I do that, suddenly I'll get loads more business.
To everything.
Yeah. But that's not the case. There's no silver bullet. You have to do lots of little things, and you have to put in the effort. So it kind of doesn't matter. Well, it matters what your budget is, because obviously, that is one factor. But you've really got to put the effort in. And like doing the campaigns that Kate's done with the Lego and everything, that took a lot of effort and a lot of It wasn't just that it was a great creative idea; it took a lot of effort as well. So if you don't put the effort in, if you think, I'll just outsource it to a telesales company and suddenly I'll have loads of business, that's only part of the.
Yeah. And the thing is with like Kate's campaign and other campaigns that I know people around the table have done, it's about really targeting who you want to speak to, and not just going, I'll just blanket 300 people. It's like, just do 20 of your favourite people and send the campaign to them. I think that's what I wish I'd have done differently at the start of my business. I'd have just gone, yes, let's talk to everybody and just send it all out. But
that's reminded me actually of the whole idea of spam. All the spam emails that you get, and it's just like your name's on a list somewhere, so you just get spammed by all and sundry asking you if you want. And for me, I get loads of, is there anything you'd like to update on your website? It's like, well, if I did, I'd do it myself.
Yeah.
But I seem to
That's
recently.
bonkers, isn't it? It's
Yeah, well, there's
such
no
a
targeting
waste
at
of
all, is there?
time.
Yeah. I know Bill Gates, like back in the 90s, wanted to charge a penny per email or something because he thought it would stop people from doing this, and probably he was right. But
Interesting.
nobody was up for that idea at the time.
Bring it back.
But recently, I've had quite a few emails from companies that I've looked at, and they're like genuine companies, and some of them are like accountancy firms. And it's as if you're going to decide on somebody that's important to your business as an accountant off the back of an unsolicited email that's just landed in your inbox.
I know.
Yeah, with an unsubscribe button that doesn't work, incidentally.
Yeah, there's a lot more of them, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Emails without unsubscribes. And honestly, I'll get one incessantly without an unsubscribe. I've emailed him about 10 times.
Yeah.
Please take me off your list. And now it just has to annoy me, and I delete it every time it comes through. He won't delete me.
That's one for the
Have we got any answers?
ICO.
Block it.
I was going to say, yeah,
How do
I
you
think
block?
you can.
Oh, you
I
can
think
block it.
you can block
Yeah.
it on your, and if it's on Gmail, you can absolutely block it. But if you go to your, my email account is through Stackmail. That's the online program. Yeah, you can certainly
I'm
block
gonna
people on there.
It's doing my head in.
Yeah.
Just out of principle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Don't be emailing me. I don't know who you are. I didn't sign up for your list. I'm going to unsubscribe button.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Pete, is there anything looking back that you wish you would have done differently on your campaigns, or something that you're kind of taking forward that from this point, that's what I'm going to do?
I think with the early stuff, and it's kind of a recurring theme with me when we talk about these kind of things, is just the lack of planning. Is that I will decide at midday I'm going to start a campaign at 1, so I'll put a post together and that's it. It's out and it's done, and then I'm playing catch up of, well, is the landing page ready? Is, are the images right? Are my responses right for any queries that might come in? Rather than going, okay, I'm going to start a campaign in a couple of weeks. What do I need to get done? What is it I'm trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Who is it I'm trying to target? It's just, come on, we might as well do it now. I've got half an hour before I need to be going and doing that. Let's launch a campaign. That's my big thing of just breathe and take your time a little bit.
Yeah, because they take so much time and effort. And I think that's why a lot of businesses don't do it, because there's so much planning from start to finish, with the follow-up.
Yeah.
Kate, what about you? What would you do differently?
Yeah, well, I think for me, it's have more warm leads in my list of recipients for my campaign, because if you're going to send these out cold or approach people cold, you need to work so much harder to get their attention and get them to listen and be interested in you if they have no idea who you are. So when I've sent them out to warm brownies to warm
Yes.
leads,
Yes.
that worked really, really
Nice.
well.
Yeah.
And they're all people like that I'd already had some sort of engagement with. And so all of a sudden, like, same amount of effort, but much more engagement and much more results. And the other thing is the follow-up. Oh,
48% of sales are not followed up.
I know. Don't chicken out of the follow-up like me.
Yes.
So I find it really hard to do, because you've got to phone them and go, did you receive my Lego or my brownies or whatever?
Oh, and by the way, Kate, I still haven't received those brownies.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Are they in the post still?
I never got. I love brownies, and I never.
Oh, right.
Clearly, we're not warm.
We're not warm enough.
Oh, but I got the Easter
I
egg.
got that right.
Easter eggs now. It's Easter eggs.
Here we go.
I didn't even get the
That's
Lego.
another one. Yeah,
That's
that was
another
good, wasn't it? Yeah, that was to sort of partner with accountancy
Yeah,
firms in the
and that
region.
worked, didn't it?
It really did, yeah. And I put an order
So
in.
your clients are really all about the chocolate.
I think they are, yeah.
I don't think it's just your clients. I think
No.
anyone, like you say,
Yeah.
food is going to have.
Yeah.
Just that it's going to have a nice impact. I remember seeing a guy at networking who talked about this kind of follow-up of keeping the relationship going. And one of the things he said is he'll send out just the little 2-fingered Kit Kats after, 3 weeks after doing a one-to-one at a networking thing. He'll send that.
Just sending 2 fingers.
I'm not entirely comfortable with that.
No, well, I thought it was quite nice. But,
It depends if the headlines, here's 2
Partial
fingers.
to-
No, and I can
fingers.
just hear my husband singing a ridiculous song from university days about 2-fingered Kit Kats. That's all I'm.
okay, people are now going to start Googling that.
Don't Google it.
This episode of A Funny Thing Called Business is brought to you by Joanna Drinkwater, who is a multi-award-winning chartered accountant, business and finance professional, and managing director of Grant McKnight. Grant McKnight is a firm of qualified accountants, tax consultants, and business advisors with international Big Four finance backgrounds. For further information or to arrange a free non-committal consultation, please get in touch with Grant McKnight. You can find them at grantmcknight.com. In one sentence, what have you learned about yourself or your business through campaigns? Because they are a huge learning curve and they're a scary thing, aren't they, to embark on? Because it is really putting yourself out there. So, Darren, what have you learned about yourself?
Stop being a sucker.
Stop saying yes.
Stop saying
yes, of course, I love that.
Well, it sounds so good when they're describing it, don't they? You know, but there you go. What have I learnt? Well, I think probably don't spend more on the campaign than you're going to get back in returns.
Have you done that, or are you just thinking about Hoover?
International
Exactly,
flight
yeah.
for every website.
Exactly, yeah. No, I've not done that. I might try that one. No. But yeah, obviously that is a key lesson. I did used to do print advertising for an aspect of my business that involves web hosting, which is more to, all and sundry. That doesn't really involve me getting too heavily involved. People can just kind of do it online. So advertising in the right magazines and stuff did really work for that. But it was all about being there every month. So when people talk about advertising, and it's true with SEO and Google and Google Ads. Oh, by the way, there was a really good episode of that Funny Thing Called Business podcast a couple of months back about Google Ads.
Yes.
Just going to throw back to that.
Put it in the show notes.
Thank you. I've forgotten the point of that, but there we go. Google. Spending money, something about... I'm buffering. Hang on. Just a second.
I'll help you out, Darren.
dear.
I'll jump.
Go on then.
I've just remembered some epic fails, not in line with, Adidas or McDonald's or anything. Epic fails I've done. My first print campaign when I first started my business, I had like 1 million leaflets printed.
Wow.
All
A
with
million?
Not 1 million. I'm exaggerating. Let's say 1,000. All with my name spelled incorrectly. I mean, how did I miss that? And of course, the print company just blamed me.
Well, yeah, of course. You've agreed. Yeah, you've agreed the copy.
agreed it.
Absolutely.
So, it was, my first couple of £100 in my business. I was just like, well, I don't want to hand out Whalley. It was Whalley without the H. So it's a, contentious subject for me anyway.
Oh, it's not like you'd put an I in Clare or something,
no.
or
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
No.
Yeah, which you can just about live with.
It was Clare
But no,
Whalley.
oh no, Claire.
Every time putting them through people's doors, I was like, oh.
Oh, you still used them, did you?
I felt like I had to.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
good
yeah,
thing. That's
epic
really
fails.
good thing.
So what have you learned about yourself through the experience of doing campaigns? Kate, what have you learned?
That I think it's definitely worth your while pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Definitely.
To put your business out there. Because
Always.
if you don't do that, then people aren't going to get to know who you are, and that's the whole point of having a business, isn't it? If no one knows who you are, no one's going to buy from you. It's no longer a business, so you're not going to grow. You're not going to get anywhere. So, but it's terrifying. It's really scary. You'll put yourself out there, and you almost like click send or shove stuff in the post. And you feel like just rocking in the corner, going, "Oh no,
It's out there."
yeah, no, I hope everybody likes me." But I think it's just worth doing. It's definitely worth doing, because I wouldn't be. It would have been useful for me to look at some stats prior to this podcast, actually. But there's quite a few really key clients and associates to my business now that I wouldn't be talking to now or working with now if it wasn't for some of these campaigns that I've run.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Brilliant.
It's worth it, folks.
Definitely. Pete, what have you learned?
I think it's to be more targeted. Really, that's because mine generally are just like out to the world. Although, because I used to do kind of webinars and workshops about podcasting and podcasting for your business. And during the lockdown, I kind of had that light bulb moment of, well, wait a minute, why not target the title of them? So you're kind of targeting the content of it. But so I started doing, okay, this is a podcasting masterclass for accountants, or a podcasting masterclass for a law firm, or a podcasting masterclass for coaches. So, and like I say, the content is essentially the same, just the examples you'll give are a little bit more targeted towards them. And those always got much better take up than those that were just like, learn how to make a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of been the big lesson of target who is it you want to be speaking to, who is it you want to be taking this service or buying this product. Well, make sure you're absolutely speaking to them rather than just throwing it all up in the air and hoping they see it.
Yeah, spot on advice.
So anyway, as I was saying, the
have you got it now?
Pay-per-click adverts and advertising in magazines is, you know, you've got to be consistent. You've got to keep doing it. Don't put one advert out there and expect the world to respond to it. You've got to do it every week, every month.
Yeah, I've done that before in my early days. I used to. Do you remember the Journal?
Yeah,
the magazine. I posted in that probably twice. You know, spent a lot of money and was like, oh, why haven't I just got like a queue outside my door? Nope.
no, it doesn't.
Doesn't work. So if you know, consistency is king.
Yeah,
and queen.
Is it because you put the wrong address on it? That's what it was.
Just a photo of someone else.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest challenge you've got right now? Any challenges with regards to campaigns that you're running?
I think doing them. I mean, you know, there is that initial enthusiasm you get. Like people were saying, with you know, where you know, oh, this is going to be it. I'm going to do it right now. While I'm thinking about it, let's launch this campaign. But then that sort of wanes, and you've got to get the enthusiasm and kind of maintain it. I've got in the back of my mind an idea for a campaign that I want to run. It's not involving brownies or Lego,
do.
but you know, it's kind of like, you know, get on and do it. Kind of find some time to schedule some time out to at least progress things a little bit, step by step.
Mm-hmm. I really think you've got to put a day aside to plan out a successful campaign from start to finish, and definitely, you know, three weeks in advance of putting a campaign out there.
Yeah.
Not at 12:30 and then like 1 o'clock sending it.
No.
No good, doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Kay, any challenges?
Well,
or have you just got it licked?
Yeah.
No, not at all. No. Well, I do agree with the time. It's really easy to just procrastinate on putting your own campaigns out there because it just takes so much time. And also, well, the biggest challenge for me is I enjoy certain parts of putting a campaign together more than others.
Yeah.
And so I love the creative ideas bit, and I could spend all day doing that. But then, like, coming up with my contact list of people I want to approach with
and
it.
then all the emails that you've got to write around.
Yeah, and then it's all that bit, and then the follow-ups at the end where you've got to do that. So, because I know that's coming, I know that bit's coming, and you just, oh no. But
So what do you do to get around that then?
I phone you up and say, I've got to do some follow-ups, and you're, go on with it then. So I know.
It's not how I speak. It's more shrill.
If it's just purely down to me, I would probably just, I'd ring a couple and then I'd be like, oh, I'm busy, I've got other things to do. But I think because I've got you to tell me off when I do that, I think it's...
I'll tell you what happened to me the other day as well. I've had someone book in for a kickstart with me. Mm-hmm. And then she had to cancel last minute due to something coming up. And so I emailed her new dates. I didn't hear anything for about 4 weeks. Phoned her left her a message, just checking you've received my email. She's phoned me straight back. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I've just found all your emails in spam. Please help me book in. So those phone calls are so important because our emails, so much is going into spam.
Well,
isn't
except
it?
for the things from accountants you've never heard of who are trying to get you to.
Yeah.
And all the other rubbish, yeah.
Should be charging a penny an email.
Yeah.
But don't you think though, like you can tell yourself, oh, they haven't got back to me because they don't like what I'm offering.
Totally.
Maybe they've been on my website.
That's
and
the
you've got to
first
tell
thought.
yourself,
Oh yeah, I just thought
the
she'd kind of moved on
Yeah.
and, you know, done with it. So, but I thought I'd best just double check. Pete, any challenges?
I think it's just, for me, it's deciding. So I've got kind of 3 or 4 things that I'd quite like to do campaigns on. It's just deciding which is going to be the most impactful, really, and then kind of working through that. Because it's when you just said then, you know, you need to spend a day kind of properly. And I'm like, okay, that's the frightening thing, you know, because it's spending an entire day doing, you know, working on something like that. And that comes back to Darren's point of it's keeping that enthusiasm up, because I like the creative side of it of, oh, okay, I like this.
Yeah.
And, you know, how do we shape it? And yeah, okay. So yeah, after the first couple of hours, I'm like, do this tomorrow, shall we?
Yeah.
Just,
But okay, perhaps the best rephrase that then. Some campaigns take a day, but you know, if you've got something that you just want to get out there, how can you make it as simple as possible?
yeah.
That doesn't take a lot of time.
But that's the thing. I agree that it does. It needs time. You know, maybe not a full day, but it does. You know, you've got to understand that if you're going to put out, and like I say, an impactful, well targeted, well put together campaign, you can't do the Pete Morgan approach of 30 minutes and counting. It's, you know, it has got to, time's got to be spent. There's got to be, you know, kind of discussions, and also, you know, if necessary, you go to your trusted business network and go,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think works better? This, you know, brownies or Lego?
Yeah.
Quick thing, none of you are getting either of them. So
You're not on my warm list.
exactly. None of you are warm enough. So that for me is the thing, is deciding which one to go with, and then kind of working through that.
Yeah.
But still making a note of the others, because you'll get around to them eventually. It's
Yeah,
just,
you will.
You know.
You'll just put the ideas down and come back to them when the time's right. So let's lift it up a bit, guys. What are the silver linings when it comes to creating catchy campaigns? What have we learned so far, do we feel?
Nothing beats the sensation of a successful campaign.
Yes.
Nothing, but very,
When
very
you've
few things.
Created it
Yeah.
from start to finish. You have generated that piece of business from a little spark of an idea you had.
Yeah.
Is an awesome feeling,
is.
isn't it? I love the fact that, you know, there are businesses and companies that have, you know, messed up, screwed up so majorly, and they're still here to tell the tale. They have said sorry or turned the campaign around, or not, but they're still here. So, you know, let's not sit in that procrastination of, oh, but what if? Google the 10 biggest screw-ups in marketing and think, would I ever do anything like that? Would I ever make those mistakes? No. Kate, what are your silver linings?
Well, I love campaigns, and I'm going to continue to do them until I end up popping my clogs, probably. But I mean, they work for me, and not only do they work in terms of getting attention, but you know, there's been some recipients that have gone, I want to do something similar for my own business, and so that straight away is it's a great way of demonstrating for me, especially what it is I can do. So I love them.
I love the fact Kate has said this, because I bet you £1 million that, you know, 5 years ago, Kate would have never uttered the words, I love campaigns.
Not at all.
Darren, do you love campaigns?
To a degree, I love the results, and I think that's kind of what you're saying just there. I think for a lot of my campaigns these days are perhaps kind of Google ads and SEO, so kind of stuff that you can see because it's all online, isn't it?
Yeah, like
you can see.
quantifiable.
Yeah, you can see the results. You can look at the stats and go, oh, look at how many people are doing, finding this or doing that. So when you do like put little bits out there, a blog or something a bit more targeted, and you can see the results, measure the results. That's nice, especially if it converts into business and.
Brilliant. Well, as always, guys, it's an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And for our lovely listeners, please share, subscribe and review so our fellow business owners can enjoy, be inspired and always keep focused on the fun side of business.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.